Now, the question, you've been with ECA for almost 20 years. You've seen it all. And as I mentioned in your, listening to all these high-profile people talking about you and giving you all the praise, a lot of these things you've written about them, you were part of the process. My question to you is, Joe, from where you sit and from all the things that you have seen around, where are we getting it wrong as a continent? What is the problem of Africa?
Well, I think I would not put it that way as a problem of Africa.
Or what has been the challenge?
I mean, everyone faces challenges,
Yes.
And we are going through the phase of some challenges.
Right.
At the moment, we are facing the challenges of growth. We're facing the challenges of carrying a lot of debt. We're facing the challenges of the shocks from COVID, from the Ukraine war and the climate change. And all these requires addressing. But when you come to the integration front, where I have a bit of concern is, we have the African Continental Free Trade Area, but yet we are having challenges in terms of some countries agreeing to, bilateral trade with countries outside the continent. We are having challenges of the question of the partitioning or the way the EU Economic Partnership Agreement is, which is putting countries in different zones that undermine our regional integration agenda. Those are the things that we have to address. We also have the challenge of the secretariat that is supposed to prosecute our regional integration, which is the African Union Commission. It is at the source. Its funding is coming from, most of the funding for its programs are coming from outside. And you cannot have your integration programs being financed by partners. And I think it's ridiculous that African countries should begin to put some money, more money, if they want to be integrated. They should pay for it.
But Joe, I mean, when I ask the question, where is the challenge, where's the problem? You say you won't put it as a problem or challenge. Now, if we sit and design such a very profound program, and we know that the program cannot proceed without funding, and yet the funding is coming from outside, what are we doing? Is it not saying that, look, I know what I want, but I don't want to put money into it, and therefore he who pays the piper calls the tune? So is that not a challenge? Is that not a problem? Is it a political will, or what is it?
I mean, to tell you the truth, after 60 years of independence, if we cannot find money to finance our integration, that's a serious concern.
So
we
I mean,
we designed
day, man.
No, we designed a way to solve the problem,
Right,
in terms of funding.
right.
And we came up with something called a levy, which is 0.2% on all imports coming outside the continent.
Right.
Ghana is implementing it, by the way.
Right.
Other countries, Rwanda and other countries, have implemented it. And that's 0.2% for imports coming from outside the continent is what could bring a lot of money to African countries. But some countries say no, they don't want that.
Why?
Well, they claim that what they want is that the AU should draw up its budget, tell them how much they owe, and they will send a check.
Okay.
But even that, they don't pay. They don't pay. So it is something that we have to look into it and ask ourselves the question.
Yes.
So how do we do? Because until we solve the question of the financing of the African Union, a lot of what I'm saying cannot happen.
And how do we solve it?
Is for African member states should pay. They should pay. Okay. And perhaps maybe they can streamline the secretariat, make it, small, but very efficient.
Which secretariat?
African Union's Commission is our secretariat, right? So that to me is what needs to be done. We need to do that. And until we do that, a lot of our integration programs may not go ahead. may not be fully implemented, because we always have to serve the interest of who is paying, because they can determine what they'll pay for, right? So that's something I think we have to finance. Yeah, So those are some of the things that I think, and I think countries should also be made to aware that, their question of strength, right, is more to do with being within the AU. Right. Otherwise, we will not get anywhere.
I mean, they're very, very interesting pillars within the discussion of the Africa continent. The air transport, the railways, and all of that. Where are we at the moment?
Well, the air transport, I mean, I must say that, air transport is very competitive and very challenging. And so we've come up, or the AU has come up with something known as the single air transport market, whereby they want to open up the market so that African airlines will be able to fly freely. But this is not new. It's something known as the Yamoussoukro decision, which 1999, which was passed.
But I mean, look at it, 1999, we're in 2023.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that's true. That is true. But that is where the challenges are, How do we get to implement things that does not require money?
Because, Joe, let's take the AU passport, for example. I mean, out of 54 or 55 or 40, whatever nations, only 4 countries have ratified.
The free movement of persons.
Of persons.
Yeah. Yes, the protocol on free movement.
Exactly. Where does that lead us?
The interesting part is that the protocol on free movement was done the same time that we had the protocol on the AfCFTA.
Right.
Countries signed, but it has not been ratified in their parliament.
Okay, Joe, for the average African listening to us, when you say signed and ratified, they may not understand. Break it down to the level of the average African. What is the signing and the ratification?
So we have a protocol comes out.
Absolutely.
We all agree on the protocol. Countries sign off that they support it. They are heads of states.
Right.
However, for it to go beyond and become law, it requires it requires 15 countries to ratify through their parliaments. Right. So ratification requires that countries would take the protocol to their parliaments for discussions and for ratification. Right. And so I think my view is that the energy that was spent in terms of getting the AfCFTA, we need to find that energy again to be able to get the protocol done.
Where did the energy go?
I think, I think some of the issues that I raised, and I think some of the reasons that maybe the protocol didn't come up was because of the question of the northern countries, northern hemisphere, right, fearing that once the protocol is accepted and becomes law in Africa, a lot of the, the trekking on the Sahara and then dying in the high seas will stop, because people can just fly instead of walking to maybe Morocco or to Libya or to Tunisia and find their way to Spain or wherever they want to go. But so we need to.
But if we create more jobs on the continent, would people want to fly?
I don't think so. Migration takes place within the continent more than outside the continent, right? In ECOWAS, if you go to Ghana, there are Nigerians, all the ECOWAS people are there. You go to Nigeria, you find the ECOWAS people. You go to Gambia, you find the ECOWAS. So there's movement taking place, right? But it's just that we fear ourselves. Okay. That's what it is.